Hello, good morning and welcome to the Andrew Eborn Ian Simon Show. For those of you fans of anagrams, I thought we'd call this little segment the Ian Simon Show, the early morning show. For everybody, you're joining me again on my early morning walk here on a glorious day in Regent's Park. We're starting the day the way we want to carry on, a bit of bird song. And those of you who were joining me yesterday live, I went all the way to the seaside. Fantastic time down in Bracklesham Bay. And you're right, Dawn, it looks absolutely stunning. Morning, Art, nice to see you. Anne Wibley, always wonderful. Anne Wibley was my house mistress, can you believe? All the way there at Lord Wandsworth College all those many years ago. And what I remember, many fond memories about Anne and my time at Hazelmere House in Lord Wandsworth College, one of which was that every birthday, Anne would prepare a fantastic Victoria sponge. And as it's my birthday coming up, it's quite appropriate that Anne has joined us this morning. 7th of July every year, she would never forget. It was such a joy. And talking of a joy, you're joining us live from the heart of Regent's Park for my early morning walk. It is so good to see you all, nice and bright and breezy. This is what I've now called the Ian Simon Show. And it's called the Ian Simon Show for anagram lovers everywhere. So you're joining me on the Andrew Eborn Ian Simon Show. So first person in the comments who can work out why it's called the Ian Simon Show. Not that difficult, it's a nice little anagram. I thought, never seen that before, so we'll call that, first time ever, the Ian Simon Show here with me, Andrew Eborn. And you're joining me as we walk on a glorious Sunday morning. My Sunday morning stroll through the finest park. Probably one of the finest in the world. And yesterday, those who joined me, we went down to the seaside. I'd seen all these reports on the news about how busy the seasides are. So I thought I'd have a quick look, obviously with my usual social distancing, to see what was true. And you'll see from the report released at 7:07 this morning, you'll be able to see some live footage. I say released, well, it was live when I recorded it. That's the best way of putting it. And you'll see just how busy the beaches were. Life's a Beach is released at 7:07 this morning. And you'll be able to join me down in Bracklesham Bay, where I grew up. And talked about growing up, it is lovely to see so many people. Dawn is with us again this morning. Hello, Dawn. And Dawn's going to be coming on the show. And we're working out dates. We've had so many people who have written in, and it's lovely to see so many people writing in saying they want to be part of the show. And you are all very, very welcome. So if you'd like to be on the show, do write to me at lol, that's lol, L-O-L, at octopustv.com. And we will get you on. I mean, we have everybody from the rich and famous to lifestyle, to celebrities, to everyday heroes. I want to find out about everybody. And we've done more than 500, can you believe, videos since we've started. And what I love about it is the depth and breadth of the excitement and the people. And you're joining me on a glorious morning, absolutely glorious, here in Regent's Park. Those of you who haven't tuned in beforehand, where have you been? This is the Andrew Eborn Ian Simon Show. And we call it that for anagram lovers everywhere. Put it in the comments, come on, it's an easy anagram for the morning. We'll make it make sense. And we're walking along, this is the Broad Walk. As it's such a glorious day, I'll take you into what is a magnificent start. Sun is behind me, so if you get the sun in your eyes, my apologies for that. But what I love about even this time of the day, there is nobody around. There you go, how's that? So whatever you're doing today, I hope that you will be tuning in. As I say, at 7:07, we'll be having a look at my little journey down to the south coast I went down to check in on my mother. It's always good to check in, see how things are, observing all the rules. I'm a naughty, never be naughty, observing all the rules. But I thought I'd also, whilst I was down there, because it's on the south coast, check out these reports that we had about people flooding in everywhere to the beaches and seeing how crowded they were. And you'll see the report at 7:07 as exactly how many people were on the beach. I'll give you a subtle clue. You probably won't need both your hands and certainly not your feet as well, just to check how many people are there. But that's what we've been doing. We've during this time when London is coming out of lockdown, I thought it'd be a lovely start to see exactly what the reality is about life in London as we start to reopen. And you'll remember a few days ago I took you along to the busiest streets, the retail streets right in the heart of London, and we had a look at Hamleys, we had a look at Selfridges, we went into Liberty, and the reality is that all of these places were open up for business. It was fantastic. The biggest high street stores in the world on the most glorious Regent Street, and all the way with Oxford Street as well. And I took you down to Buckingham Palace. I took you to come and see all of the sights around the world. And what I noticed was, yes, they're all open for business, but the reality is there was nobody there. Nobody there at all. It was just me. And obviously the millions of you watching live as we went round to see retail. And it was quite extraordinary. So what I'm trying to do with these early morning, the Ian Simon show, as I say, for anagram lovers, what I'm trying to do is give you a first-hand view of what London's really like. A little treat here on a Sunday. This is one of my favourite places, one of the favourite hidden places in London. And it is a glorious way to start the day. This, as I've told you before, is St John's Lodge Garden, and this was built as a garden perfect for meditation. I thought it's quite appropriate as you are getting up nice and slowly, when you can have a look and see what's happening, all appropriately social distance, even though I've got the rules here, sort of sign still screams out of us, keep 2 meters apart. Well, I can tell you, everywhere I go, the crowds are obviously warned because we see nobody. I think so. I think that's the clue, isn't it? Follow me, because obviously people get told very, very early. But it's that Andrew Eborn. If you follow him, be nice and quiet. So we'll take you to some of the best places in the world. I have to say, this is just the most beautiful place to come of a morning, to wake up. Some glorious flowers, shrubbery, statues in the garden. And this is my little summer house. My summer house where I keep the tools and the shed. It's always a thrill. Just me and my shadow. Morning. Nice to see you. So whatever you were doing yesterday, I hope you did have a fantastic day. I went down to Bracklesham Bay, which is where I spent a lot of my childhood when I was from about 7 until I went away to boarding school. I went away to Lord Wandsworth College at the age of 13, and fantastic memories of my time down, not only in Bracklesham Bay and East Wittering, but also my time at school. And I was saying Anne Wibley has been busy watching us as well, which is fantastic. Anne was my house mistress at school, can you believe it? So Lord Wandsworth College has given me lots of lifelong friends. We've had lots of people on the show who went to Lord Wandsworth College as well, and we've had a really diverse bunch. We've had lots of people from Johnny Wilkinson. I can say that I played in the same rugby team. I was in the same rugby team as Johnny Wilkinson. I played on the same fields. I had the same coach. We weren't in the same matches because there were a few years between us. But Johnny Wilkinson went to Lord Wandsworth College. We also had Julian Sands. And in addition, we've had wonderful people like Nick Pope, who's been on the programme. He worked for the Ministry of Defence for a long time. He was Ministry of Defence for over 21 years, and gloriously he is a world-renowned UFO expert, because his job at the Ministry of Defence, for a big part of it, was to investigate UFOs and to see just whether there might be some truth in that. So we've had Nick on, do check that episode out, and we chatted to him about everything from that to conspiracy theories. And as you're joining me here in one of the finest private gardens, we're just inspecting the work of our gardener, make sure he's and she have done their jobs, and pretty important. This is to all protectors of the defenceless, which I think in these times is really quite important. And we like to be protectors of the defenceless. I think that's wonderful. I think we always like to give the underdog a bit of a platform and some support, because I think the reality is you find so many people where you need someone extra to help you, and all those who've been isolated during these extraordinary times. And I know lots of you have written in and said how comforting you find these walks around London, and it gives you a chance to explore the great outdoors. Some people, if you're in London, you can do these yourself. You know, these are all, come along, I'm trying to show you the best of the best. Those of you watching at home, it gives you a little sample. If you can't do that, I can take you through some of the finest places around London, and indeed further afield. And you can have a look at that side and see what's going on. For those of you who are new to the show, it's the Andrew Eborn show here on Octopus TV, and every now and again we do a little bit of live streaming where you just join me on my walks around London. And the simple things in life, like for me, the crunch of feet on the gravel is just a wonderful sound. I love playing with the senses. And whilst music is a vital part of my life and many people's lives, I think you find the sound of nature is itself one of the biggest and best soundtracks of all. That, however, is the sound of summer, the sound of the wood pigeon for me, the glorious noise. Because it's reminiscent of my many days growing up by the seaside. And as I say, we went there yesterday. I went down to Bracklesham Bay and just checked out what was going on in the world and the peace that we had, the peace and understanding of the world. Because you see all these reports on the news about just how noisy everywhere is. And I thought it'd be good to go and have a check, obviously keeping social distance. And so I drove down to the south coast, Bracklesham Bay and East Wittering and the West Wittering and Itchener, and I had a look where I was growing up during all that wonderful time. And we had a look at just how crowded the beaches were, how many people were coming out to the seaside, and seeing just how people are behaving as opposed to what the news reports might be. And the only thing I ever see on the news reports is the huge crowds everywhere. And so I thought I'd have a look for myself in a number of these places. As you join me, this statue here, quite appropriately, as you're joining us on the Ian Simon show, is called The Awakening. And it really is absolutely glorious. Lovely to see you, Natalia. I hope you're well. We've got lots of people around the world. What I love about this is that I realise that in my Rolodex, as they used to be called, we have people from every walk of life. We have people from Australia. We have people all the way to Zambia. And so what I've done, I've had them all on the show. And we've talked not just about the rich and famous, and we have lots of those as well. We have our galaxy of superstars, some of the biggest stars on the planet have come to talk to me on the show, and you can check those all out on Octopus TV. And you can check us out. We are on Twitter at Octopus TV, at Andrew Eborn. We're on Facebook, and we're obviously on YouTube, which we've now merged all of them, and we've now called UTwitface. It's got to be good. But you also find us on traditional channels as well, so you can join me, Andrew Eborn, on all of those. But what I love about getting all the different people from around the world, as I say, the rich, the famous, the superstars, but also everyday folk, and it's finding out about their lives and what they're up to in these extraordinary times. And we've been learning all sorts of wonderful new skills. We've learned how to play chess with James Pratt. We were talking about Lord Wandsworth College earlier. He's a chess champion. We've learned about UFOs, about the government's policy on UFOs, how they investigate them. Because life, you never stop learning. When we talk about homeschooling, the reality is we can do all of that. And we can do all of that right here on Octopus TV. So we've been learning about that side. I've also learned how to make paper planes. We've learned from top chefs, fantastic top chefs from 5-star hotels and Michelin star restaurants. And they've been telling us about some of their best recipes. From everything from lemon drizzle cake to Valerie Eborn's perfect pavlova to Welsh rabbit to all sorts of fantastic dishes so that you can prepare those at home. I was talking about fantastic dishes, and Anne Wibley's joining us as well from Lord Wandsworth College. She used to be my house mistress. And I was saying my birthday's coming up on the 7th of July. Put it in your diary, because we're going to have a fantastic party. 7th of July. Every year, amazingly, I have a birthday, and I enjoy it so much that I have another one the following year. And what happens is that on the 7th of July, Anne would prepare for, actually she didn't just do it for me, she did it for everybody in the house at Hazelmere House. She would prepare a fantastic Victoria sponge, and that was the perfect way of sort of waking up for your birthday. Obviously sharing it in amongst all the other pupils meant that you didn't have as much as you might have had, but it was a glorious time to do that. So you're joining me here live in the heart of London. It is a fantastic day. I've really enjoyed having your company. I hope you've enjoyed this start. Do go over to Octopus TV. Do go over and see what life is holding at the moment. After this break, I'll tell you what, I'll walk you back through the Rose Garden, because the Rose Garden is not so far. And I'll see you in a couple of minutes. Well, welcome back. Let's have a look. We're here in the heart of London, and to make it easy for you, you can see that you are here. And we've just been having a look at some of the finer things in the centre of London. Good morning to all of you joining us. You're joining me, Andrew Eborn, in the heart of London on what is going to be a glorious, glorious Sunday. This is what we started at 6:33 this morning, 6:33. Check it out, we love seeing mornings. Marion's joined us as well. So if you came with me yesterday on the wonderful journey, you would have seen we went to the seaside. I do like to be beside the seaside. I thought we would have fish and chips, some fish and chips, so all of that was rather fun. And I also had a look. Morning, Marion. It's lovely to see Marion, because Marion is a regular here, and she's a regular not just for this show, but we do some special shows for Marion. We do our special GSI, we do our rock and roll show. Look, the script writes itself as we go along. Rock and roll with Marion. But she is, I have to say, she is indeed a lovely lady. That Marion, look at that. See, it's all there. It all works inside. And what I love about this sort of side is that together we do have lots and lots of precious time. Because Marion runs GSI, and what she does for all of the fans, she makes sure that they keep smiling. Marion is that special person, and we've produced lots of fantastic content for Marion. We went on a glorious walk around London. Marion suggested lots of different places for me to visit on my morning walk, and we went with the fantastic, legendary broadcaster Mike Reed, and absolutely sensational. He went on, visited all the places. It was indeed pink perfection that we saw with Mike, and we also had the wonderful RJ Gibb, and it showed us everywhere that good morning from Marion. You're joining me in my garden glory for my early morning walk right here in Regent's Park. And it's appropriate that you're joining me today because we're remembering the fantastic time that we had down on the south coast yesterday, because nostalgia ain't what it used to be. This is here, just give you a script and you work on that sort of principle. So all good stuff. So whatever you're doing today, thank you so much for joining me. Yesterday was quite an experience, because yesterday I went down to the south coast and we went to see my mother, who is 90 years old. She 90 years young, I should say. She won't mind me saying. Andrew Eborn. And it's always wonderful to see her as the lockdown restrictions are easing. We obviously followed all the appropriate rules and regulations because we want to be safe. And I took everybody down to the beach because I thought that, having heard all these reports about how crowded the beaches were, I thought it'd be rather good to go and check for ourselves, because we've done that when we wandered through London, and I had a look, and we basically been into some of the biggest retail shops in the world, and we've seen, you've been here with me live on Octopus TV, we have seen just how quiet and extraordinary some of these places are. And whilst I am passionate about music and the Bee Gees and many other fantastic bands, and they all say the Bee Gees are the soundtrack to our lives, and that's certainly true, but in addition, what nature provides as a soundtrack is just superb. And for me, there's no finer way to wake up than just stroll through nature, having you joining me, because what we find on these walks is that we are the only people. When I take you through London, you find that we're the only people going there. You'll see at 7:07, when we release the footage of my time at the beach, the seaside, you'll see that we are in fact the only people there. It is quite extraordinary what's happening in the current climate. And I have to say, I love it. It's absolutely wonderful, because you get to appreciate the finer things in life, all the things we've taken for granted for all these years. And if we can show you a new way of appreciating the world, a new way of looking round at everything. It sounds like a bathroom, but it's not a bathroom. It is in fact a waterfall behind me. There you go. How gorgeous is that? So you're joining me here in the heart of Regent's Park, in my rose garden, and as I say, nobody's here, and that's what I love about this sort of side, is that we can wake up nice and bright and breezy of a morning. Marion's here, which is always lovely to see Marion, and so we do lots of wonderful content with Marion. We look at different ways that we can make things make sense. We give exclusive access to GSI and the Bee Gees fans around the world, and we had the joy on Michael Jackson, the anniversary of his death. It was 11 years when he passed on the 25th of June. We left at 11:11. I suggested that I'm always a bit funny about my numbers, as those of you who know me well will know that I always like to do something a bit quirky with the numbers. So 11:11 I picked because it was all to do with the number ones for the Bee Gees, and they all had ones. They never wanted to write number twos, they always wanted to write number ones, and so 1-1 is what we went for, and that was on the 25th of Michael Jackson, the anniversary of his passing, and we remembered him as he went into places like Hamleys. I mean, Michael was a regular at Hamleys, the biggest toy shop in the world, and what we did, we realised that was empty, but we watched lots of glorious other places as well. So coming back after the break, you'll be able to join me again for a bit more of my Sunday morning walk. I'm just about to post the 7:07, life's a beach, so I will see you very, very shortly. Me and my shadow. But for now, goodbye.